Ladies and gents, we are back for our first leg session. And why the hell are we starting with delts? Well, because I need bigger delts. So I actually kick off this first leg session, which is the day after my upper body session, with 4 sets of behind the back lateral raises on a functional trainer. Now, of course, doubling up back to back doesn't give everything the chance to recover. However, I needed to fit in more delt work. So adding it on this day after the prime lateral raise actually doesn't feel too bad. If anything, I actually really enjoy this and it feels fucking phenomenal. So 4 sets here, 10 to 20 rep range with a cuff. If you have a look at where the cable's landing, at the very top, it essentially falls under my armpit. I find this to be the best spot in terms of stimulus, and it targets my rear delts my side delts more than it does my front delts, and a little bit of my rear delts as well when I keep my pinkies sort of twisted up a little bit like that. So pretty sure we go for one more rep here, maybe. Don't think we get it, and that's okay. That's us done. Once I've done 4 sets of that, and actually in between sets, I'll come and warm up for my actual primary squat movement for the day, which is Smith machine back squats. So I haven't done a back squat of any fashion in a long time. And I really wanted to get under a bar, but I know that stimulus is the goal here. And for me, I needed something that I can keep a bit more upright when it comes to my torso. Thus, where the Smith machine back squat came in. Of course, being conscious not to bounce at the bottom. And I like taking a rep at the top, a second at the top to breathe, ensure that I am maintaining control. And this I keep it like a 2 to 3 in reserve because I plan on taking everything else to the cleaners after the fact. So I don't want to completely torch myself on the first rep of the first set. I still want something in the tank. But I'll do 3 sets of back squats before moving on to this, what I'm going to call the JP back extension, because I don't know what the actual brand name is. But this thing is beautiful. So same deal, got a top peg and a bottom peg. And I love the fact that I can get such a nice stretch on this, but also how much I can extend and flex my back. The only gripe I have with this machine is that it crushes my nuts, which is not fun. So, gents, if you have some feedback for me on how not to do that, I'd really, really appreciate it. But again, take this all the way to failure, and that's us done. 3 sets there as well. After this, though, we move on to some good old-fashioned Bulgarians. And I can tell you now, quick readjustment of the feet. These have felt the best they ever have. Those dumbbells that I'm using there, I believe, are 35s. Yes, they are. And talk about a glute and quad stimulus. I do my best not to sit all the way down. Just make sure that I get my hips to parallel, and from there, drive right back up. What I do my best with is not to hinge over too much and make it too glute dominant. I am trying to emphasize my quads here, but the fact that my hips are as stable as they are and I can push this as far as I can. So case in point, this last rep really, really makes me feel super good about the work that I did prior to this and how well I managed an adductor niggle that I had. But now we move on to our first actual paired set for the lower body. Yes, I do paired sets for the lower body. My time is limited to train at the moment. So when I go to train, I always do my best to try to condense how much time it takes to do the work that I need. Case in point, a lying leg curl paired with a single leg extension. So this lying leg curl feels really good, and this gym has seat belts, which is even better. And again, everything that I do when it comes to my accessory work, I'm really focused on allowing fatigue to dictate what my range of motion looks like. So constantly going for that next rep, not trying to get overly emotional about it, just trying again, Bang. Cool. Let's try again. Deep breath in. Drive, 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 drive. Cool. And you'll notice here, this is probably the best example of it. So I get a little bit angry. Try for that next rep, not a drama. Pause for a moment. Take a breather. Go again. And that was when I knew I was done. Couldn't get a full rep. I have achieved failure. That's me finished. Okay. Same deal goes for this single leg extension. Now, I have no idea why I had my left leg in the air like I did. But the use of the hustler pad, having the cam set to 5, so it really bias that lengthened position, does make a massive difference for leg extensions. I noticed I've always struggled to get peak contraction at the top and have a extended leg. So having the hustler pad, but also the resistance profile adjustments makes it so much easier. Okay, so 8 to 10 reps aside there, paired with 10 to 15 reps on the seated leg curl. From there, we have our first try set of the day. So just some good old fashioned abductions. Now, I don't sit in the seat for these. I hold onto the seat behind me, lean forward to get a stretch on my glutes. And again, allow fatigue to dictate what my range of motion looks like. So as I start to fatigue, range of motion will slowly dwindle, slowly but surely. You'll notice that, here we go here, I'll always fight for it, but there will come a point like this, and it'll happen again, where fatigue is the dictator for where I actually finish the set. So rather than actually tracking these, I don't worry too much. I just track my full reps, and whatever half reps like this I get, I just call it a day. But from there, after I do a set of abductions, I go and do a set of single leg calf raises. Same deal. The thing I'm looking for here is not trying to get peak contraction. I do want to maintain position in that bottom deep stretch. And after the fact, allowing fatigue to dictate what my range of motion looks like. Now, on occasion, you may need to adjust your feet. I'm pretty sure I do it in this video here. Yep, there we go. Quick adjustment of the foot, back down, all the way back up. All right, as I come up, I always press my big toe into the pad. And once I know I don't exactly have a full rep left, or I know I'm getting close to the end of the set, I'll just hang out in that bottom position. So that might be my last rep there. Maybe we'll find out. Yeah, I just hang out in that bottom position, try to stretch my calf out as much as I can like that, because I can get a good amount of dorsiflexion there. And we roll on. Final movement in this tri-set is just a good old-fashioned cable crunch. Again, going into too much extension does give me discomfort, which is why I only do it with these cable crunches and the back extension. But I hope that you got a lot of value from this episode of Road to Greatness. Again, this is just what I do with training. You can do what you prefer. I really, really like doing these agonist-antagonist paired sets where I have 2 movements and rest 60 seconds between each movement. Because it means I'm not in the gym for as long and I get to do just as much work at the same quality. But I'll be back with another episode next Friday. Until then, team, do take care. Have a great week, and I'm sure we'll chat soon.